What's going on, guys? If you're thinking of starting your own restaurant, here are my 5 tips for you. One is going to be location. So location is going to be extremely important because you have to consider the amount of traffic that goes around your restaurant, either walking traffic or people just driving by your restaurant, or if your restaurant is in a plaza with a lot of other stores, maybe consider how busy they are, the hours of their operation, so that you can attract those same customers. The second one is going to be rent. So obviously, paying rent sucks. Nobody likes it. But most likely, if you're not going to buy the building, you're going to be paying at least for the commercial property. It's very, very important that you keep in mind that you want to have no escalation on your rent. A lot of times, the landlord or the realtor, they're going to push for some sort of escalation. So you just want to make sure that it's not extremely high, because if you're opening your restaurant and it's your first year in business, you want to have a way out just in case something doesn't work out. And one, having an escalation is just gonna really add costs for you for year two. And if you have a term that's bigger than 1 year, and it's a multiple term lease, that's something else that you probably should watch for. Realistically, you want to have something that's on a yearly basis, and you can negotiate the rent price upon the end of year one. And you want to have the max, I would say, 1 to 2% escalation if you choose to renew your lease. So these are very important things to consider on top of the maintenance. Let's make sure that we negotiate a good maintenance strategy and a good maintenance language with the landlord or the realtor, just because things break a lot. You're going to have tons of plumbing issues. I did and still do with my first location, and I wish I had some sort of language in there that talked about plumbing. Electrical issues, the kitchen is going to have tons of things plugged into it, and if an outlet blows up or just something simple, you want to make sure that you can call the landlord or call the realtor or someone else that they can come and fix it and pay for it themselves. You don't want to be liable for that cost, because trust me, you're going to have tons of expenses, and you don't want to worry about those types of expenses that can occur at any time. So that's rent. That was the second tip. The third tip is understanding your capital and your operating costs. So your capital is going to be all this money that you're going to need to invest into your restaurant. A lot of this money is going to come even before you open the door, so you really want to know how much capital you're going to need. And it's kind of hard to determine how much capital you're going to need once you open the doors, just because you're going to have sales coming in, you're going to have food expenses, labor, taxes, all of these other things that you may not be aware of or might not have ever experienced before. So it's really important to do your research and create a budget that is almost like before and after. Before you open the doors and after you open the doors. And what do you estimate? What are your sales going to be? What are expenses going to be once you open the doors? And prior to opening the doors, what equipment do you need? Does the building require new flooring, new ceilings, etc., etc.? So it's really important. I talk about this in another video, and I have another article on my website that you can kind of look at the difference between capital and operating costs and come up with a good, solid budget. And if you need more help with that, just reach out to me. I think I can help you with that pretty well. The fourth thing is the local competition. So, of course, you're going to have probably different restaurants around you. And what I tell people all the time is just focus on your own business, but be aware of the business around you, of course, because there are ways that you can maybe grab some of their customers and bring them to your store by offering some products that are similar to them, but you also want to keep your menu different. For example, in my first location, most of my food is not what I would call the healthiest foods. It's mostly sandwiches, rice and beans, and some fried foods. And I noticed that around me we have, we have a gym. We have two gyms and a few other restaurants. One of them being very healthy and brings in a lot of healthier people. So I came up with the idea of running meal prep. So every Monday we do meal prep options for our customers, and that has taken off. And I've noticed that I've seen customers that I've never seen before, and some of them are customers from the other restaurant that like to eat there during lunch because they provide a healthier option for them. So just keep that in mind because it can be very helpful. Like I said, focus on your business. Don't get too caught up on what other people are doing, but just understand your demographics. Know who's walking around town and where they're going and what they're looking for. The fifth thing is your restaurant regulation and health code. Now, this can be a topic that will go on forever, and it's different for every state, every city. So this is something that you have to spend time on, especially before you sign the lease. You don't want to sign into a building where you're going to have major problems with the plumbing and the fire chief, and just the health codes aren't up to standards. That can be very costly. So, for example, you know how the kitchen requires a cleanable ceiling and walls, and requires some sort of flooring that's going to be cleanable as well, with obviously no cracks and things like that. So you want to make sure that you know these things ahead of time before you commit to signing a lease and then having tons of additional costs just to bring it to code. So just keep a mind on that. Keep a mind on the license that you need, and all of these things will need to build into your, again, going back to your capital and your operating costs. So keep an eye on those things. At first it can be a lot, so once again, I'm here. If you need my help, let me know. But yes, so keep in mind of these 5 items that I just said. One is your location. Let's make sure we have a good location that has good visibility and that you can, display good signage and have a lot of people see it from the outside in. The second one is rent. The cheaper the better, obviously. No escalations or very minimum escalations. And let's look at that maintenance language. Make sure that it's somewhat favorable to us as the tenant. The third one is your capital and your operating expense. So again, understand your costs. Understand how much money you're going to need to put into your restaurant. This is the number one reason why a lot of restaurants fail. They don't go in with enough capital. They assume that once they open the doors, they start selling, they'll be able to pay their bills, and that's not true. So just have an understanding on that. Your local competition, which is the 4th bullet. Know who's around you, how you can create your own customers, and maybe pull some other customers from another location. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just business. And the 5th one is understanding your regulations and your health code. So maybe place a call to the health inspector. Have him come look at a site or give you some advice. Really look into all the regulations that are required for you to put a restaurant in, such as there's an amount of seating that you need, and whatever amounts of seats you determine to have, it's going to determine how many bathrooms you're going to need. So little things like that, you need to know these things. You can call your local city government, and they can help you out with some of these things. So again, if you need any help, I'm always here for you. My name is Leo Mesquita. You can find me at on my website at riskwithconfidence.com, or on my Instagram at Leo_RWC. If you need any more information, again, let me know. Thank you guys and have a great day.